I am an educator, founder of Off the Beaten Path Learning. We help young people to learn how they learn. I took your early advice to take action every day. My goal was to get 5 new learners, and I was able to get 3 new learners in the span of the sprint.
Let's first talk about that transformation.
The earliest transformation was the first learner that joined. They reached out and said they were stuck after 4 years of working together. Their biggest achievement was that award that they won. They actually had their play acted out by a SAG actor in Central Park. The same learner also took 4 AP exams in 1 year, and they did well on 3 out of 4 of them.
You have found an offer that is very fulfilling to you, helps other people. And that's the best place you can be because you then have that confidence to sell it. Hi, Dominique. How are you?
Hi, Arlan. I'm great. I'm with you.
Yeah, thank you. It's so great to see you. We got to really get to know each other during the 100-day sprint that you were part of that kicked off 2026. Can you talk a little bit about what you do and what you did in that sprint?
So I am an educator and the founder of Off the Beaten Path Learning. And what I did during that sprint was, like David Senra recently quoted, I don't know who he quoted, but he said, "Don't look left, don't look right, go." So during that sprint, I took your early advice to take action every day. And I documented that action for quite a while too. So everything I felt like I accomplished in a day, I would put down with the date and here's what I did, here's what I didn't do. And my goal was to get 5 new learners, and I was able to get 3 new learners in the span of the sprint.
And when you say learners, talk a little bit about what Off the Beaten Path is and who it's for.
Off the Beaten Path Learning is a one-on-one self-directed education company. Who it's for are neurodivergent teenagers. So we help young people to learn how they learn. We help young people to develop confidence and creativity and dependence. I like to say that I'm in the business of power. This is about empowerment. This is about knowing that you can make a difference in your life, knowing that you have impact on your own existence and those around you too.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of neurodivergent people and a lot of disabled people, especially, but a lot of people just generally marginalized in any way or not, it's hard to really believe that you can sometimes, especially when you're told so often, really? Like, can you?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, actually I can. So watch me.
I agree with you that there are multiple people, probably everyone on this earth has felt underestimated in some way, but we're talking about specifically neurodivergent people and people who have been told that maybe their whole lives. Do you identify as that? Is that okay to ask that question?
So yes, I do identify as neurodivergent and disabled. Not everybody identifies as both, which is it's up to each person to decide for themselves. But I'm going to talk about what those two things mean, at least to me.
Mm-hmm.
Neurodivergent comes out of a more historical term, I guess, which is neurodiversity. So if you're neurodiverse, if there's an S in it, then you're just a person with a brain, because everybody's brain is different. So neurodiverse means there's a diversity of our neurology. Neurodivergent means that you're divergent from what's known as neurotypical.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, like I said, language is tricky, right? A lot of people do not ascribe to these labels, and like, more power to you, you know. Disabled is when you're diagnosed with something, and that can be temporary or it can be chronic, and that can be physical or it can be mental. Usually it is a mixture, a big old mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I have 7 chronic disabilities, and many of them are neurologically based. And a lot of people don't realize how much is under that umbrella. So, like, for example, Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris studies childhood trauma. And in her TED Talk, I learned that 67% of middle-aged, white, college-educated people, 67% of that population experiences chronic, complex post-traumatic stress, which means that you went through 4 at least 4 traumas when you were a child. And so that is considered, I think of that as neurodivergent because it changes the way you operate in the world.
Do you find in your work, right, that people often hear someone else speak about it and then they realize, oh, that sounds familiar. I might be that way, or I may have something that's similar to that.
Yeah. My mom, like a couple months ago, she was like, do you think I'm neurodivergent? I was like, Mommy, where do you think I got it from?
Well, but do you find that in your work? Do people, like, I guess another way of saying it is when people find you, is it a
Yeah.
mixture of how long they've known this about themselves, or is it a lot of discovery happening?
That's interesting. That's a good question. I think when people find me, they know.
They know.
They find me and they're like, usually,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what
Yeah,
are they
usually
what are they seeking from you, if that's the case? Since that's
I would say different things. The biggest thing I think is relief and belief. A lot of people come to me, a lot of learners come to me, they're stuck, they're bored, they're struggling, they're really, really depressed. And although this is not therapy, it's kind of therapeutic in the way that it operates and what it does. So I think people they come to this for like help when they're in need, and that need is specifically like nothing else is working. In fact, more recently, when I started working with you, you said niche down.
Yeah.
Before I started working with you in the sprint, I was serving whomever in the world of any age because the learning model works for anyone in the world of any age.
Sure.
However, the business does not do as well. So after that point, after I started really messaging, clarifying the messaging and saying, okay, neurodivergent teenagers, families of neurodivergent teenagers, let me help you. More and more people started coming with that story already and with the need of like nothing else has worked.
Yeah.
Like I've tried the school for autistic people. I've tried, and it's either too much, it's too little, it's too harmful, but nothing else has worked.
To be clear for everyone, what did you end up niching down to?
Neurodivergent teenagers. So that is still one-on-one, still self-directed, still the same model, but I'm working with and finding educators for neurodivergent teenagers.
Oh, that's interesting. So let's walk through your offer. You say that it worked, you've seen a lot of success with it, meaning that people who go through it, in your experience, it's going to be different for everybody. So we can't make any claims, but in your experience, it has been very helpful to people. Let's first talk about that transformation. Since from the business perspective, it's good to know what you are articulating to people, and we'll go from there.
All right. So the earliest transformation was the first learner that joined, was the first learner that incepted this too. Oh. They reached out and said they were stuck, they were bored, and they needed a talent manager. They were like 14, 15 at the time.
They needed a talent manager. Give me more information on what that means to them.
Well, so that at the time and still to this day, they were an artist. They are an artist. And so they knew that they had a lot of talent in them, but they didn't have the structure. They didn't have the partnership. They didn't have the container to go out and explore from there and come back and create.
Got it.
So in the beginning, kind of floundering. And then after 4 years of working together, and now it's been about 2 years since that point, since they transitioned out, now they're in university. They did a great deal. Their biggest achievement was, in my opinion, was that award that they won. It was a worldwide short play award, and they actually had their play acted out by a SAG actor in Central Park. Wow. And I attended, and we me, mom, dad, we're sitting with the picnic style with the other crew, and we're watching this. It was incredible. this same learner also took 4 AP exams in 1 year, which is like, and they did well on 3 out of 4 of them, really well. And they also got into a top arts university, 2 top arts university, because they transferred to an even better one. A more recent and a different kind of profile too is an 11-year-old that I'm working with now, and he is, I would say, an engineer. He described himself, this was a big win recently, actually. So he has autism and a PDA profile of autism, which is one term for it is pathological demand avoidance. Another term that a lot of people like better is a pervasive drive for autonomy. So he sometimes struggles with certain external pressures, and and so for him, when he said to me, he said, I am a creative, a builder, and I'm good at soccer. And I told his mom that, and she was like, my son is back. Like, I have my son back. Like, I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah. And that's because of the work you all do on a weekly basis?
Partially. Partially. It's because of the work that we do on a weekly basis. 100%. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Because the gains since we started working together in the summer have been incredible and like compounding effects. He'll like read a book on his own. He'll clean his room without being told. He will build. He's such a prolific builder. He's always coming to me every single meeting. He's like, look what I made.
Yeah.
And these are incredible things. He made a Bugatti where the wheels turn and the engine moves. He made one thing that actually hooked up to the shop vac and worked.
Yeah.
Wild. So those are the 2 examples that I have for transformation.
It sounds to me that it's usually the parent now who has read about you, heard about you somewhere, maybe even referred to you.
Yeah, usually.
And they're like, I would love for you to talk to my child. And is it virtual? Do you do this one-on-one in person? Like, how does that work? Because I know that there are some people who are watching, especially if they're watching to this point, they're very interested. And I believe they want to know 2 things. They want to know, is it virtual? Can I work with you virtually? And they want to know, if you're working with teenagers now, can you work with me if I'm 37? That's what they're probably wondering.
Yes.
Okay.
It is also in person if that's what you need.
And where kind of region are you in?
I'm in New York, but currently we have educators in New York, in Paris, France, in Australia, and in upstate New York. So it can be virtual, and it also, if you need in person, request that. And it can either be like exploratory, so in museums, libraries, at the park, taking a lot of walks in parks. And then it can also be at home if that's really what is more necessary. I haven't done a whole lot of that officially. It would mean like different insurance and different kind of like a different kind of background check too. But yes,
I was thinking about that.
It's what they need.
Also, sometimes, and this is just based on what I've experienced personally. Sometimes, especially if they're autistic and they're a child, sometimes they can have a lot of energy and run around the room or be a little even aggressive. Is that something are you used to that? Are you used to that kind of like interaction?
100%.
Yeah.
100,000%. Yes. It's, and that understanding is really important to Off the Beaten Path. I don't bat an eye. I tell mom, but I don't, or dad.
Yeah.
But I don't bat an eye.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a little bit of, that's where things get a little tricky as you grow as a business, is what you were saying about insurance and about being, even HIPAA and things of that nature. Yes. I assume and imagine that you just take really good care to be sensitive to information. Yes. Like, you've been very broad in describing people and things like that. I think that's really smart.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there something that you are especially excited about right now in your business or in your work that you're doing?
I'm going to more events, which is cool. I'm excited about the book.
Let's talk about it.
So I wrote a book It's in its kind of like final draft. Now I'm getting feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's called Porcupines and Electric Eels, What Every Parent of a Neurodivergent Teenager Must Know. And it's based on research that I've accumulated, having 2 degrees in education and having studied specifically like inclusion and the history of being an inclusive educator. And it's also, a lot of it draws from my lived experience. So I do take a little bit from my professional experience here and there, like some stories from people I've worked with, but mostly it's research, like third-party research, and my lived experience, and like throwing in, what I know, having 7 diagnoses and having had them, many of them since childhood.
And that, like, do you have a plan for that book? Because the book really starts to set somebody apart, and you can, that book can be for years and years. I know this as someone who wrote this book. I wrote Your First Million.
Yeah.
I wrote It's About Damn Time, or published it, right? And I know that it can be a calling card. And so what do you think about the book side of things? Because it sounds like it's a big part of your life now that you're looking forward to.
My first word was book, in English too, because my native tongue is Portuguese, but I said book, so I think that was some kind of something. The plan for it is to market it at events, promote it at events. The plan is also, I want to combine it with mailers. I've not done this yet. I'm curious what you think about this. Like really finding a good way to message and package it and mail it out to people.
Do you mean,
and have that be like the lead magnet that is just in your, it's kind of like door-to-door sales, I guess.
do you mean it? Are you saying someone orders something online, they get so you're saying send it to them before, like, without
they don't know who I am, and
how do you know to send it to them?
You can. So one of my clients had a long career in marketing, and he told me that you can, and I started the process. You can go to the USPS website and just pick a zip code or something, and then you just mail it off, and you say, I want to mail 300 or 500 households in this area, and they just do it for you.
I see. So my take on that, based on just the 60 seconds you've talked about it, is it's not a bad idea. It's a risky idea financially because the percentages. Now, if I understand what you're saying, is like 67% of white people are, have this. And so that means that probably across the board, that's the case. I'm trying to imagine if I received a book in the mail. First of all, it's going to take me a while to receive it because I'm not looking at my mail every day. We're just not that kind of society anymore, where I'm not looking at physical mail every day unless I know something's on its way. Second of all, let's say I do open it because it's in a package that's like, oh, what is this? And I open it, and it is about something that I either don't realize I have or am attributed to, or I just doesn't feel like it's aligned. I might be like, well, what is this? So what I think is you combine your idea, but more focused and more sharp, right? So I think what you do is you say, look, is there an organization that appeals to people who are neurodivergent?
That has a specific mailing list already.
And can you imagine how grateful they would be if this author came to them and said, I have this wonderful book, you can read it first, and if you think it's great, I want to send it to you, and then I will send you X number of copies for your audience.
I think I know exactly the organization, I think, too. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think that could be very powerful. That could be really powerful, especially if you have a through line of, I know that for every 100 books that I pay to send out, I want this result to happen from it. I need for this amount of money to come back to me over this certain amount of time for it to just kind of self-perpetuate. Yeah. If you can do that, then yeah, I mean, it is off to the races, and that focused is just going to be so much better. and really strong. And then
That's a great idea. Thank you.
you're welcome. I can't wait to see what you do with it, because you are an action taker. That's what I learned from you. You hear something and you digest it, you decide if it's right for you, and then if it is, you do it. And that's just going to take you so far. One of the things you mentioned a few minutes ago was that there was a TED Talk that taught you something. I'm sure you watch a lot of TED Talks and making assumptions.
Sure do.
The book helps you now
That's
get in
true.
line to have
That's
your
true.
own TEDx talk.
Yeah, that's true. And Lord knows I've tried, but we'll try again with a book.
The book will change things.
Hmm.
The book will change things. You know, a book just puts you in a different league. And it may be fair, it may not be fair, but it is still accurate. It's still true. So it would be great to see what you do, because ultimately you have found an offer and a service that is very fulfilling to you and helps other people. And that's the best place you can be, because you then have that confidence to sell it.
Yeah.
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 What is there anything else that anyone watching should know about themselves, about you, about what you offer?
I guess I want to speak to like how to start the process.
Yeah.
So the way that it begins is that you, the family, schedule a call. It's 30 minutes. It's free. And so you can do that by going to the offthebeatenpath.com website. Off D as in dog, A as in apple, beatenpath.com. And when you're there, you click contact. You can schedule right on the website. Or you can also call me or text me. Yeah.
We'll send people to the website for now, and we'll put that link below in the pinned comment, in the description. One of the two, you'll be able to find it so people can get going with that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so during that 30-minute call that sometimes turns into 45 minutes, we talk about goals, strengths, and needs. And so we go through the learners. What do they want? What are they interested in? What are they really good at? What are their unique hurdles? What do they struggle with? What are their learning styles? What doesn't work, right?
And this is free? This is free for people?
That 30 minutes is completely free,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And I gotta say too, sometimes people get a whole lot out of just that conversation. I've had people schedule, they book a call and they're like, I need help. I just need to talk this through. I've also had people schedule and the parent or the family is interested, then the kid hops on and they meet and they're like, you know what? This is cool, but I don't think I need this. I think I need something else.
Yeah.
And I always celebrate that because ultimately this is about choice. This is about empowerment through choice. And if they're making a choice for themselves, I've done my job. And I love that. So yeah, that 30-minute call. And then from there, I get to know the kid. That's like a 4 to 6 week process usually. And then I pair them with the educator that'll work with them one-on-one. And I oversee the process continuously.
Where are the educators coming from? Are they hired by you? Are they part of another organization? How does it work?
Yeah, so they're hired by me. Two of the educators currently are with other organizations, but I prefer to work with individuals as opposed to agencies. It's less messy for the family and the learner. All of the educators I have that are both independent and also with agencies, they are incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. They're smarter than me in a lot of ways. And I love that because ultimately it's about the learner. So, good.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I mean, I think people who, even if they're not thinking about getting in touch with you about that, can learn something for their business. That's a really interesting model you have. I don't even know if you realize it, is that first of all, that initial call, that's great. And I always encourage that because sales are on the other side of a good conversation. And so you don't want to bring someone on who doesn't know what they're in for, which is great. But then that 4 to 6 week period where you're working with the person, getting to know them, and then you can sort of give like a dossier to the teacher.
Yep.
That's really interesting. And that way it also doesn't put so much pressure on you to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
And run this thing where you're like, you left a 9 to 5 to get a 24/7. I think that's really special.
Cool. We're not crying. We're fine.
I do. I think that's really smart.
Yes.
And I think it's really, really, I bet it works really well, especially because I'm sure you tell people that up front.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And I bet that really it doesn't feel jarring. It's like, oh, I actually get to ease into this with someone, and then they're going to tell me the best fit for me. That's really cool. Right. The best coach, like that's going to be really cool. So I think that there's some people who are watching this. I'm certainly taking note who could pull from that, extract that. Mm-hmm. It's been absolutely amazing talking to you and learning more about this. I guess I have one last question. This is just a personal question. The question for me that's personal is, what does neurospicy mean? I've heard that phrase. Is it just like a cool way of saying neurodivergent?
Kind of. Yeah. Truthfully, like, I think my honest answer is I don't know. Okay. But I'll take a guess. It's to say it's a description of like I'm neurodivergent questioning, or I'm neurodivergent and that's my style and I'm proud of it. And I don't want to say I'm neurodivergent, I want to say I'm neurospicy. Yeah. I've just heard that more and more often the last maybe that's interesting. 6 to 12 months. Like, oh, I hadn't heard that before. Yeah. For me, I personally I genuinely feel validated by the term disabled, actually. Because it's an impediment. And so, like, thank you for acknowledging that, world, and doctors and other people. Exactly. The last thing I'll say here too is at least as of last May or June, Maryland is a state that I think it's the first state, or it's definitely the first state, it may be the only state that allows you that puts like a purple something on your driver's license if you have an invisible disability. That's interesting. So that if you're pulled over and you show your license, there's already something to start working with. So if you react a certain way, it doesn't get seen as aggressive or passive or something like that. I just think I just learned about that last summer, and I thought it was so, so cool. And I think more states should adopt that big time. Yeah. Also, if you travel, you can ask for designation. Oh, that's interesting. While you're flying. Yeah. A lot of people don't know it. And unfortunately, a lot of people who work at airports still don't know it. But you can ask, just like you can get a wheelchair, you can ask for a designation, like a wristband or something that says that I am neurodivergent. Yeah. Wow. That's great, man. Because even going to the Lego store can be like a lot, so let alone an airport. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I was just going to add too that I also think that's cool, and I realize that it won't mean a lot without the training. Like you said, the airport people need to know about it. They need to know. The police need to know about it. Everybody needs to know exactly, not just that it exists, but how to. Yeah. The reason I found out about the airport is that my sister-in-law has albinism, and therefore she also is legally blind, but she's also fabulous. So she's like, I saw her at the event. Yeah, Angel, right? She's a fabulous person. So you don't realize, unless you know that about albinos, that she can't see you more than a foot in front of her. She's just adapted really well. So when we're on flights, she's having trouble putting her luggage up or finding her seat. And some people can consider that rude and stuff. And so she does need to go to the front of the line. So it's good to know that she has an invisible disability.